Marcus Williams was staring at the MRI images on Dr. Patterson's computer screen, trying to make sense of the gray and black shadows that apparently held his fate. "I'm sorry, Marcus, but I have to be direct with you," Dr. Patterson said, his voice heavy with the weight of bad news. "You have a glioblastoma multiforme. It's a very aggressive form of brain tumor." Marcus felt the world stop spinning around him. Brain tumor? The location is particularly challenging. It's wrapped around critical areas that control speech, motor function, and memory. This type of tumor is fast-growing, and, well, the prognosis isn't good. Marcus tried to process what he was hearing. At 38 years old, he had built a successful marketing company from nothing. He had finally overcome the trauma of his brutal high school years. He was supposed to be in the prime of his life. What are my options? Surgery is your only real chance, but it's extremely risky. The tumor is in a location that makes it nearly inoperable. Most neurosurgeons wouldn't even attempt it. Most neurosurgeons? There's one specialist in the state who has experience with this exact type of case. Dr. Derek Campbell at University Medical Center. He's pioneered some revolutionary techniques for tumors in critical brain regions. Marcus felt like he'd been punched in the stomach. Derek Campbell, the name that had haunted Marcus's nightmares for 20 years. The boy who had made Marcus's high school experience a living hell. The person Marcus hated more than anyone else in the world was the only doctor who could save his life. But Marcus had no idea that this twist of fate would reveal one of the most extraordinary redemption stories he could ever imagine. If this story truly touches your heart, let it speak for you. Like this video, subscribe to be part of our journey, and share your feelings in the comments. To understand how shocking this discovery was for Marcus, you need to understand what Derek Campbell had done to him during their high school years. Marcus had been a quiet, studious kid from a working-class family who attended Westfield Preparatory Academy on an academic scholarship. Derek Campbell was everything Marcus wasn't. Wealthy, popular, athletic, and cruel. Derek's father was a prominent surgeon. His mother was a socialite. And Derek had grown up with the kind of privilege that made him feel untouchable. The bullying started during Marcus's sophomore year when he accidentally bumped into Derek in the hallway. "Watch where you're going, scholarship boy." Derek had sneered, shoving Marcus hard enough to send him sprawling. That incident established Marcus as Derek's favorite target. Derek would trip Marcus in the cafeteria, sending his lunch tray flying and cover him with food. He would slam Marcus's locker shut when Marcus was trying to get books between classes. He would throw Marcus's backpack in the trash and laugh when Marcus had to fish out his homework. But the physical bullying was nothing compared to the psychological torture. Derek discovered that Marcus's father worked as a janitor at the local hospital. "Hey, everyone," Derek would announce loudly. "Here comes Marcus, the janitor's son. Don't get too close or you might catch poor." Derek would organize elaborate pranks designed to humiliate Marcus in front of the entire school. He put a "Kick Me" sign on Marcus's back during a school assembly. He hid Marcus's gym clothes, forcing him to sit out in front of everyone. He started rumors that Marcus had lice, causing other students to avoid him for weeks. The worst incident happened during Marcus's senior year. Derek had convinced Marcus that a popular girl named Jennifer was interested in him and wanted to meet him in the chemistry lab after school. When Marcus showed up, Derek was waiting with 3 of his friends and a video camera. "Did you really think Jennifer Chin would be interested in a loser like you?" Derek laughed. Derek and his friends proceeded to dump various chemicals on Marcus, causing a reaction that burned his face and left him with a permanent scar on his left cheek. "Oops," Derek said, still filming. "Looks like there was an accident in the chemistry lab." Marcus spent 3 days in the hospital with chemical burns. Derek claimed it was an accident, and his father's influence made sure no charges were filed. Marcus finished high school with physical and emotional scars that would take decades to heal. He used the trauma as motivation, working harder than anyone else to succeed in college and eventually building a multi-million-dollar marketing company. But Marcus never forgot Derek Campbell or the cruelty he had suffered. And now, 20 years later, Derek Campbell was the only person who could save Marcus's life. Marcus left Dr. Patterson's office in a state of shock. He drove home to his suburban house and sat in his kitchen, staring at the referral paperwork for Dr. Derek Campbell. Marcus's wife, Lisa, found him there 2 hours later. Marcus? What did the doctor say? Marcus explained the diagnosis and the treatment options. So this Dr. Campbell is your only hope? He's not just any doctor, Lisa. He's the person who made my teenage years a living hell. Marcus told Lisa stories about Derek that he'd never shared before. The bullying, the humiliation, the chemical burn that had left him scarred. Lisa was horrified. Marcus, that's terrible. But he's a doctor now. He's supposed to help people. You don't understand what he did to me. The way he made me feel worthless. Subhuman. But if he's the only doctor who can save your life. Marcus spent 3 sleepless nights wrestling with the decision. He researched Dr. Derek Campbell online and found an impressive medical career. Derek had graduated from Harvard Medical School. He had completed his residency at Johns Hopkins. He had published dozens of papers on advanced neurosurgical techniques. He was considered one of the top brain surgeons in the country. Patient reviews were uniformly positive. Dr. Campbell saved my daughter's life and was incredibly compassionate throughout the process. Dr. Campbell worked miracles for my husband's brain tumor. We can never thank him enough. Dr. Campbell is not just a brilliant surgeon. He's also the kindest doctor we've ever met. Marcus found it hard to believe that the cruel teenager he remembered could have become this respected physician. But Marcus also found medical journals detailing the exact type of tumor he had. Without surgery, his life expectancy was 6 to 8 months. With surgery from an average neurosurgeon, maybe 12 to 18 months. With surgery from someone like Derek Campbell, some patients live for years. Marcus made the appointment, but he had no idea what he would find when he faced his childhood tormentor. Marcus arrived at University Medical Center on a Tuesday morning, his hands shaking as he checked in for his consultation with Dr. Campbell. The medical center was impressive. Clearly, Derek had done well for himself. Marcus sat in the waiting room, his heart pounding, rehearsing what he might say when he saw Derek again. Would Derek remember him? Would Derek be the same arrogant bully he'd been in high school? Would Derek refuse to treat him once he realized who Marcus was? Marcus Williams? Called a nurse. Dr. Campbell will see you now. Marcus walked down a hallway lined with diplomas and medical awards, all bearing Derek Campbell's name. The nurse knocked on an office door and opened it. Dr. Campbell? Marcus Williams is here. Marcus stepped into the office and came face to face with Derek Campbell for the first time in 20 years. Derek was looking down at a medical file when Marcus entered. Mr. Williams, please have a seat. I've been reviewing your case and... Derek looked up and stopped speaking mid-sentence. For a moment, the two men stared at each other in complete silence. Derek's face went through a series of emotions, recognition, shock, and what looked like genuine remorse. Marcus, Derek said quietly. Marcus Williams. Hello, Derek. Derek stood up from behind his desk, and Marcus tensed, expecting some kind of confrontation. Instead, Derek walked around the desk and extended his hand. Marcus, I can't believe it's you. Marcus reluctantly shook Derek's hand. I suppose you're surprised to see me. Surprise isn't the word. Derek gestured for Marcus to sit down. Marcus, before we talk about your medical case, I need to say something. Derek sat down across from Marcus, looking directly into his eyes. I owe you an apology. Actually, I owe you about 1,000 apologies. Marcus was stunned. This wasn't what he had expected. What I did to you in high school was unforgivable, Derek continued. I was a cruel, privileged kid who used you as a target for my own insecurities. I hurt you badly, and I've regretted it every day since. Marcus didn't know how to respond. I know this is probably the last thing you want to hear right now, given your situation, but I need you to know that I'm deeply sorry for the pain I caused you. Derek's apology seemed genuine, but Marcus was still skeptical. Why should I believe you? Because, Derek said, everything I've done with my life since high school has been an attempt to make up for the person I used to be. Derek explained that he had become a neurosurgeon partly because he wanted to fix brains after spending his teenage years breaking minds through bullying. I specialize in the most difficult cases because I want to save people that other doctors give up on. The way I should have helped you instead of hurting you. Marcus listened, still not sure what to think. Marcus, I understand if you don't want me as your surgeon. I can refer you to other specialists. But I want you to know that if you'll let me, I will do everything in my power to save your life. Marcus looked at this man who had once been his tormentor and saw something he never expected to see. Genuine remorse and a sincere desire to help. Why? Marcus asked. Why would you want to help me after what you did? Because helping you might be the most important thing I've ever done as a doctor. And because you deserve to live, Marcus, you always deserve better than what I gave you. Marcus left Derek's office more confused than when he had arrived. The Derek Campbell he remembered was arrogant, cruel, and completely lacking in empathy. The Dr. Derek Campbell he had just met seemed like a completely different person. Marcus called Lisa from the parking lot. How did it go? I don't know what to think. He apologized. He seemed genuinely sorry for what he did. Do you believe him? I think so, but I'm not sure it matters. Lisa, I looked up the statistics for my type of tumor. Without surgery, I'm going to die within months. So you're going to let him operate? I think I have to, but I want to do some research first. Marcus spent the next week investigating Derek Campbell's career and character. He spoke to former patients who raved about Derek's skill and compassion. He found articles about Derek's charity work. He performed free surgeries for children in developing countries every year. He discovered that Derek had established a foundation that provided college scholarships for underprivileged students. Marcus even found an interview Derek had given to a medical journal, where he talked about his motivation for becoming a doctor. I wasn't a good person in my youth, Derek had said in the interview. I hurt people who didn't deserve it. Medicine gave me a chance to spend my life helping instead of hurting. The more Marcus learned, the more he began to believe that Derek's transformation was genuine. Marcus called Derek's office and scheduled the surgery, but he made one request. He wanted to meet with Derek one more time before the operation. Derek agreed immediately. They met at a coffee shop near the hospital, both nervous about the conversation they needed to have. Marcus, I'm honored that you're trusting me with your life, Derek began. I know what that means, given our history. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest. Of course. Are you doing this because you genuinely want to help me, or because you feel guilty about high school? Derek considered the question carefully. Both, he answered honestly. Yes, I feel guilty about what I did to you. But Marcus, I would perform this surgery with the same dedication for any patient. Your case is particularly challenging, and I've been preparing for weeks. Derek showed Marcus detailed surgical plans, research he'd done on Marcus's specific type of tumor, and consultations he'd had with other specialists. I've assembled the best surgical team I can find. I've studied every similar case in the medical literature. I'm going to give you the best chance possible. Why should I trust you? Derek was quiet for a moment. Because 20 years ago, I was the worst version of myself with you. Now I want to be the best version of myself for you. Marcus felt something he never thought he would feel toward Derek Campbell. Trust? Okay, Marcus said. Let's do the surgery. The surgery was scheduled for following Tuesday and was expected to take 8 to 10 hours. Marcus spent the weekend with Lisa and their 2 children, trying to prepare them for possibility that he might not survive the operation. Daddy's going to be fine, Marcus told his 8-year-old daughter Emma. Dr. Campbell is a very good doctor. The night before surgery, Derek called Marcus at home. How are you feeling? Terrified, Marcus answered honestly. That's normal. Marcus, I want you to know that I've been preparing for this surgery every day since we met. I consulted with colleagues around the world. I practiced the procedures. I'm as ready as I've ever been for anything. Thank you, Derek. It was the first time Marcus had called him Derek instead of Dr. Campbell. On the morning of surgery, Marcus arrived at the hospital at 6 a.m. Lisa held his hand as they wheeled him into the operating room. Derek was already there, reviewing the surgical plan one final time. Good morning, Marcus. Are you ready? As ready as I'll ever be. Derek's surgical team consisted of 6 specialists, all experts in their fields. As the anesthesia took effect, Marcus heard Derek's voice. "I've got you, Marcus. I'm going to take good care of you." The surgery took 18 hours. Derek worked through the night, taking only brief breaks to hydrate and rest his eyes. During the most critical phase, removing tumor tissue that was wrapped around Marcus's speech center, Derek's hands were steady and precise. "Careful here," Derek murmured to his team. "We're dealing with everything that makes Marcus who he is." When complications arose, bleeding that threatened to cause a stroke, Derek calmly handled each crisis. He refused to leave the operating room even when other surgeons offered to take over. "This is my patient," Derek said. "This is my responsibility." At hour 16, Derek discovered that the tumor was even more extensive than the imaging had shown. A lesser surgeon might have closed Marcus up and told the family there was nothing more that could be done. Derek spent 2 additional hours carefully removing every trace of cancerous tissue he could find. When the surgery was finally complete, Derek had successfully removed 98% of the tumor while preserving all of Marcus's critical brain functions. It was one of the most successful operations of Derek's career. But Derek wasn't finished yet. Marcus woke up 3 days after surgery to find Derek sitting beside his hospital bed. "How do you feel?" Derek asked. Marcus tried to speak and was relieved to hear his own voice, clear and strong. "I feel..." "Okay. Did it work?" "It worked better than we could have hoped. We removed almost all of the tumor, and all your brain functions are intact." Derek explained that Marcus would need several weeks of recovery followed by radiation treatments, but the prognosis was excellent. "Marcus, I need to tell you something. I didn't charge you for this surgery." "What do you mean?" "I instructed billing to write off all my fees. The hospital costs would be covered by your insurance, but I'm not taking payment for my services." Marcus was stunned. "Derek, you can't do that. This surgery was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not doing this for money, Marcus. I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do." Over the next several days, Derek visited Marcus every morning before his regular rounds. He brought Marcus books to read, helped her with physical therapy exercises, and spent hours talking about everything except their high school years. Marcus learned that Derek had indeed completely transformed his life. He had devoted his career to helping the most difficult cases. He had never married because he spent all his time either operating or studying new techniques. He had turned down lucrative offers from private practices to stay at the university hospital, where he could teach and treat patients regardless of their ability to pay. "What changed you?" Marcus asked one day. "Honestly, you did." "Me?" "After high school, I went to college thinking I was hot stuff, but I kept thinking about what I had done to you and others. I realized I was a terrible person who had hurt innocent people for no reason." Derek explained that he had sought therapy in college to deal with his own issues. "I learned that I was bullying others because I felt powerless in my own life. My father was emotionally abusive, and I took that anger out on people like you. That doesn't excuse what I did, but it helped me understand it. And understanding it helped me change." Marcus found himself developing a genuine respect for the man Derek had become. "You saved my life, Derek. Not just medically, but in other ways, too." "What do you mean?" "I've been carrying anger about high school for 20 years. Seeing who you become, it's helping me let go of that anger. If you made it all the way here, it means this story truly held you. So don't leave without showing some love. Hit like, subscribe to stay with us, and drop a comment. I'll be here, reading every word you share." 6 months after his surgery, Marcus returned to Derek's office for his final follow-up appointment. The scan showed no signs of cancer recurrence. Marcus was officially in remission. "Derek, I don't know how to thank you." "You don't need to thank me. Just live a good life. That's thanks enough. I want to do more than that." Marcus had been thinking about this conversation for weeks. "I want us to be friends." Derek looked surprised. "Marcus, you don't owe me friendship. I know our history is complicated. I'm not offering friendship because I owe it to you. I'm offering it because I've got to know who you are now, and I like that person." Derek smiled, and for the first time, Marcus saw genuine joy in his former tormentor's face. "I'd like that very much." Marcus and Derek began meeting regularly for coffee, talking about their families, their work, and their very different paths through life. Marcus learned that Derek had been carrying guilt about high school for 20 years, just as Marcus had been carrying pain. We were both prisoners of what happened back then, Marcus realized. But we're free now. Derek became a regular guest at Marcus's family dinners. He taught Marcus's children about science and medicine. He became Uncle Derek to Emma and her younger brother Jake. Lisa initially had reservations about Derek, but she came to see the genuine change in him and the healing their friendship brought to Marcus. "I've never seen you this at peace," she told Marcus. 1 year after the surgery, Marcus and Derek established a foundation together. The Second Chances Foundation provides free medical care for patients who can't afford treatment and anti-bullying programs for schools. "We both got second chances," Marcus explained at the foundation's launch. "Derek got a chance to become a better person, and I got a chance to live. Now we want to give second chances to others." Derek's medical expertise combined with Marcus's business acumen made the foundation incredibly effective. In their first year, they funded 12 life-saving surgeries and implemented anti-bullying programs in 50 schools. Marcus often speaks at the schools they visit, sharing his story. "The person who hurt me most in high school became the person who saved my life," Marcus tells students. "People can change. Forgiveness can heal. And sometimes your greatest enemy can become your greatest friend." Derek also speaks, focusing on the perspective of someone who was a bully. "I was cruel because I was hurt, but that's no excuse," Derek tells students. "Every person you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Choose kindness." Today, Marcus Williams is cancer-free and thriving. His business continues to grow, his family is healthy, and he has found peace with his past. Derek Campbell continues to save lives as one of the country's top neurosurgeons. But more importantly, he has saved his own soul through genuine transformation and service to others. Their friendship has become legendary in their community. Proof that people can change, forgiveness can heal, and redemption is always possible. 20 years ago, Derek Campbell was my worst nightmare, Marcus reflects. Today, he's one of my closest friends and the man who gave me my life back. The teenager who scarred my face became the surgeon who saved my brain. And in saving my life, he completed his own transformation from the worst kind of person to the very best. Sometimes the people who hurt us most are struggling with their own pain. Sometimes our greatest enemies carry the potential to become our greatest allies. And sometimes the most beautiful friendships are born from the ashes of our worst experiences. Marcus thought his bully becoming his doctor was the cruelest twist of fate. Instead, it became the greatest blessing of both their lives. Because redemption is real, forgiveness is powerful, and second chances can change everything. Even for bullies who become doctors. Even for victims who become friends. Even for enemies who become family.